Hello, this is Blake Rat. Let's play the fifth game in the Elder Scrolls series. This is Skyrim. Interestingly, this game it does something that I complain about in a lot of indie games, which it doesn't actually put the title of itself in its title screen, but, you know, when you're Bethesda, I guess you can get away with it. Let's go ahead and get started. This is probably the game you're most familiar of, any of the ones I've played. It came out relatively recently in 2011. It earned about 8 billion Game of the Year awards, highly praised by pretty much everyone, everywhere in the gaming industry. Even Nintendo, who is creating a new game console that's coming out next year, has bragged that they're going to get Skyrim on it as a launch title, only about 6 years too late. So that just gives you an idea how popular this game is. In fact, that might be the first Bethesda game on a Nintendo console, although I'm not going to look that up. I have no idea if that's accurate or not. Anyway, the intro to Skyrim is not really a pre-rendered movie like the other games. It's all interactive cutscenes, so we're actually in the game right now. I can turn my head, look around, and it's very soothing. There's no, like, big orchestral score or anything like that.
Across the border, right? Walked right into that Imperial ambush, same as us, and that thief over there.
Damn you Stormcloaks. Skyrim was fine until you came along. Empire was nice and lazy. If they hadn't been looking for you, they'd have stolen that horse and been halfway to Hammerfell. You there, you and me, we shouldn't be here. It's these Stormcloaks the Empire wants.
We're all brothers and sisters in binds now, thief.
Shut up back there.
What's wrong with him, huh?
Watch your tongue. You're speaking to Ulfric Stormcloak, the true High King.
Ulfric? The Jarl of Windhelm? You're the leader of the rebellion. But if they've captured you... Oh gods, where are they taking us?
I don't know where we're going, but Sovngarde awaits.
No, this can't be happening. This isn't happening.
Hey, what village are you from, horse thief?
So, like other games in the series, we start out as criminals, although we're not actually in a dungeon or a jail cell in this game, but we are basically, our hands are tied, we're put in a cart, and we're being brought to the headsman, who is waiting, as you can hear there. The guy in the front of the wagon caravan is General Tullius, who's the leader of the Imperial Army in this area. The guy behind me in the wagon is Ulfric, who is the leader of the rebellion, basically. He is muzzled, and you'll find out why.
And it looks like the Thalmor are with him. Damn elves. I bet they had something to do with this.
The guys back there on the horse are the Thalmor. They are kind of complicated to explain, but they are basically well, I say basically. They are kind of the bad guys of Skyrim and kind of not.
This is Helgen.
Kind of confusing,
I
really.
used to be sweet on a girl from here. Wonder if Vilod is still making that mead with juniper berries mixed in. Funny. When I was a boy, imperial walls and towers used to make me feel so safe.
Who are they, Daniel? Where are they going?
To go inside.
Why? I want to watch the soldiers.
Inside the house. Now.
That's a bit, not historically accurate. Actually,
Why are we stopping?
beheadings in actual medieval times were, like, good entertainment for all ages.
Let's go. Shouldn't keep the gods waiting for us.
No, wait! We're not rebels!
Face your death with some courage, thief.
You've got to tell them! We weren't with you! This is a mistake!
Step towards the block when we call your name. One at a time.
Empire loves their damn lists.
Ulfric Stormcloak.
That's a good reason to rebel against the empire is that they have too many lists.
Honor, Jarl Ulfric.
Although I guess it's probably saying it's too bureaucratic or something like that. But hey, whatever.
Lokir of Rorikstead. No! I'm not a rebel! You can't do this!
Halt!
You're not gonna kill me!
Archers! Anyone else feel like...
And so ends the worst prison escape in history.
Step forward.
Okay.
Who are you?
So the fact that he doesn't know who I am kind of reinforces the whole view that we just got kind of rounded up along with... We were in the wrong place at the wrong time, but like the other games, this doesn't really tell you exactly what you did to be put in prison or to be captured, basically. So here are the races of Skyrim. You can see they all have quite a graphical upgrade from Oblivion, which you'd almost expect, since Oblivion was widely criticized for having ugly character models. Skyrim has... This is going to sound hypocritical. Skyrim has ugly character models, but they're ugly on purpose because they're all supposed to look like genuine, like medieval people, kind of covered in dirt. They don't really bathe every day. It's kind of supposed to be like a Nordic Viking kind of society. So let's go ahead. We'll make the same character. Let's see if any of the presets look good. I kind of like this tiger guy. He's got nice mean eyes. He's got mean eyes. I don't like his scar. Maybe we'll get rid of his scar. So you can see that there's a lot more sliders in Skyrim than there were in previous games. You can do a lot more with your character's face. There's not really any different bodies or anything, but the face is pretty flexible. The only thing you can adjust about their body is weight, which is basically... For men, it's how muscular they are. For women, it's basically how big their boobs are, more or less. I don't know. But anyway, I'm not going to go ahead and fiddle with that too much here. I just want to kind of get in the game. So let's go ahead and hit done. This is our favorite friend, Zardar.
You with one of the trade caravans, Khajiit? Your kind always seems to find trouble.
Oh, Hadvar.
Captain, what should we do? He's not on the list.
Forget the list. He goes to the block.
By your orders, Captain.
So I think this is supposed to give you a little sympathy for the Stormcloaks by basically having the captain here assign you to death, even though they don't know who you are or why you ended up in the wagon. But when you play through the game, the Stormcloaks are actually so awful in so many ways. It's really hard to justify siding with them. You can... There's a civil war, you can side with either faction, but I always side with the Imperials.
Murder his king and usurp his throne. You started this war, plunged Skyrim into chaos, and now the Empire is going to put you down.
So we learned from that Ulfric has a power called the Voice, which is why he has a muzzle on him, why his mouth is all closed up there.
Give them their last rites.
As we commend your souls to Aetherius, blessings of the eight divines upon
For the love of Talos, shut up and let's get this over with.
learn. As you wish.
Early on when I played this game, I always confused that generic Stormcloak soldier there with Hadvar, who's still on my right. Despite the difference in hair color, I always got him mixed up, and I was like, did they make a big mistake in this game where in the intro Hadvar gets his head cut off and then he comes back to life? Or anyway. So this is a kind of a violent thing. I think they're trying to earn their what M or whatever the rating of this game is, by putting a little bit of head chopping right there in the intro. There was also a guy who got shot in the back by the arrows. In fact, his corpse is still there, but the arrows are pretty bloodless, so you know. Oh, good. So we're going up to the block to get our head cut off. For some reason, they don't cut off Ulfric's head first, which seems like what they should be doing, but whatever.
To the block, prisoner. Nice and easy.
So we just kind of volunteer to get our head cut off. I guess it's better than getting shot in the back by an arrow, maybe, but maybe not. Whatever. It's part of the game. You don't really get a choice. Ooh.
What in oblivion is that?
Look at that. A dragon.
See,
It's in the clouds.
So this dragon appears. He looks very evil, and he makes the sky turn cloudy and meteors rain down. And the headsman, I've never quite figured this out, but the headsman there dies. And I don't know why he dies exactly. I assume we're supposed to assume that he was hit by a meteor, but he just kind of died. Oh, whatever. Who cares? So Ralof is saying, hey, we can escape. Run this way. Let's hide in this tower. And so we go ahead and do that.
Could the legends be true? Legends don't burn down villages.
Now, I'm still bound. I still have my hands tied behind my back. I don't know how these guys got out of their bindings so quick. The game doesn't really explain that. Both of them were... Well, whatever. Who cares? Don't think about it too hard. I don't understand the strategy they're adopting here, which is if we're being attacked by a flying dragon, we should go to the top of the highest tower. That doesn't really seem to make sense to me. Well, whatever. I won't think about it too hard. So here we go. We have to jump out of the tower, land in the top floor of this inn, whose half the roof is collapsed. And we'll go ahead and just keep following the objective arrows here. This is all basically a Half-Life 2-esque interactive cutscene, more or less, but at least it's a little more interactive. A little bit, not a lot. It's not just waiting in a single room while two people talk for 7 minutes. It's being in various different locales while people talk for like 8-9 minutes. You know, whatever. Totally different. Oh, crap. Okay, I like this part. So if you stand here for a few seconds, you'll see the dragon's gonna come around and grab that guy off the walls and give him a nice little toss. Boom. It's pretty gruesome. So at this point, you get a choice. You can either go into the keep with Ralof in that door, or you can go in with Hadvar in this door. So we'll go ahead and go with Hadvar. I do that because the Stormcloaks are huge racists, which you don't find out at this point in the game. You only find out later. Well, I guess unless you've read like the Prima Strategy Guide or something before you started playing. But yeah, the Stormcloaks are they're really hard to sympathize with. It's kind of like in Half-Life New Vegas, where they make Caesar's Legion a playable faction, but they keep slaves and are horrible, and it's really hard to justify actually siding with them for any reason. So anyway, okay, so here we go. I'm in the keep. I'm wearing prisoner's rags, even though all the other people with me in the cart had armor on. I guess I was wearing these rags when we were I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to think too hard about this stuff because let's go ahead and we'll grab some stuff here. I got a key. I got armor. You know, there's a helmet here too. Yeah, there we go. Let's go ahead and put on this armor. And I got a sword. That's good. Now, unfortunately, I can't do. I'm gonna have to drop this stuff I don't need. I can't do hand-to-hand in this game because you do get a skill tree. But you'll notice if you go through the skill tree that hand-to-hand is not a combat skill anymore. It just has two-handed, one-handed, archery, and block, basically. And then all of the, you know, utility ones: sneak, lockpicking, pickpocket, speech. Why they would get rid of hand-to-hand but not combined pickpocket and sneak, or pickpocket and... Yeah, pickpocket and sneak into a single skill set, I don't know, because I loved hand-to-hand and I never pickpocket anything because it's boring as hell. So anyway, I'm wearing Imperial armor right now just because that happens to be what was in the case. Just go ahead and follow Hadvar. We'll go through this tutorial. Normally I kind of speedrun this because I played this game more than once, but I'll play it at the pace it wants us to be play at. It wants us to be play at. I think and speak good.
We need to get moving. That dragon is tearing up the whole keep. Just give me a minute. I'm out of breath.
Hear that? Stormcloaks. Maybe we can reason with them.
Okay, so there's a couple Stormcloaks holed up here. Hadvar wants to reason with them, but they attack me as soon as they see me, so that's no good. Let's go ahead and kill them. Combat works a lot like Oblivion. But here's the cool thing about this game. Kill cam! So when this game came out, it was based on the Fallout 3 version of Gamebryo. One of the things Fallout 3 added was a feature called VATS, which is a combat engine that allows you to do kill cams. And they went ahead and made kill cams for Skyrim, and it's very fun. And they even made Skyrim, I mean, they made kill cams for hand-to-hand attack, even though there is no hand-to-hand skill tree, which, again, is one of those things that constantly mystifies me, but whatever. I'll get over it somehow. Okay, so you can hear the dragon is still attacking, and something he did, which I'm a little unclear on, caused that roof to collapse. And even though the roof had collapsed, there's also a second roof on top of the roof. I don't know. Okay, here's a couple more Stormcloaks. Now, obviously, if you play on the Stormcloak side, these guys are not Stormcloaks, but they're Imperials, and it's everything's reversed. But you do go through the same barracks, basically in the same order, in the same way. Let's go ahead and take these potions. Basically, this part of the game is just teaching us how to take things out of containers, which is a very fundamental skill here.
Done then. This way.
You see the rubble from the other side. Apparently the Stormcloaks got crushed under it, I suppose. I don't know. So here we go to another part of the game where they're trying to make the Imperials to look bad, so the Stormcloaks look a little better, and that's the torture room. So nice. I like the stabbies. So basically, it turns out that this guy is a torturer, as it says on his name. And he, I don't know, I guess tortures Stormcloaks for information or something. But I don't really care. I can't get behind the Stormcloaks at all, even though the game wants you to think that they're both equivalent to each other. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do the lockpicking game. This is, I believe, the same lockpicking game that was in Fallout. Like I said, they, between Oblivion and Skyrim, they made Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. And I think what happened is they took all of the engine improvements for those games and basically put them into Skyrim, which is why they have things like the kill cam. Let's go ahead and learn this spark spell. Since, you know, why not? Let's go ahead and use magic for a second here. So you can see my paws are out, and I got my lightning spell cast. And then you can do the Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars thing with your lightning.
Grab what you can and let's go.
Okay, so I've grabbed what I could. I unlocked the cell and stole everything from that guy's body. Basically, that guy's body contains mage equipment if you want to be a mage in this game. And I'm not going to wear the robes or anything because I don't really want to be a mage. Rezar Dar has always been combat before, so where did Hadvar go? There he is. He's behind us. So the torturer's assistant volunteered to come with us and help out. Hadvar doesn't walk, but every so often he just stops and turns around and faces you because I guess he thinks you're not going fast enough. I don't know. Whatever. It's kind of interesting. In some ways, this is the best Elder Scrolls game, but in other ways, it's not very good. And it's kind of an interesting dichotomy. For one thing, the writing in Skyrim is actually less good than the writing in previous, well, especially Oblivion. So there are a lot of factions in. Oh wait, let's do the trap. So you can see that there's a slick of oil below us. So if we cast our flame spell, we can actually set the oil on fire and burn these guys alive. Well, one of them alive. The second one didn't quite get burned. So that's always fun. A lot of the quest lines in this game have very poor writing and lots of plot holes and things that just don't make sense. Oops, I'm out of mana. Let's go ahead and go back to my sword. And if you play through the game, you'll notice that especially on the worst is the Thieves Guild quest, which is gibberish in so many different ways. You can actually use magic and a sword at the same time, by the way, but I'm going to go ahead. If you have just a sword out, you can block. If you have magic out, you can't block, you cast instead. So basically your left trigger is whatever your left hand is, your right trigger is whatever your right hand is. And so you can actually dual wield too. If one of these guys has a sword, yeah. I can do this, and it's kind of fun. I've done a playthrough with dual wielding before. It changes a lot of the dynamics in the game. You do not get a block, but you also don't attack twice as quick, but it has a lot of fun animations and stuff that go with it, basically. Okay, so, oops, what happened here is the dragon collapsed some more ceiling and it came and blew up the bridge, so we can't get back the way we came in. So basically we're going to have to go through this cave system and find a way out. If you remember Oblivion, this is very similar to Oblivion, where basically you're getting guided through, and Oblivion is the sewers, basically, or the secret exit from the city and then to the sewers. Hadvar's doing his turnaround thing again because he doesn't think I'm moving fast enough. Come on, Hadvar, get your ass moving. And there's a coin purse. Let's go ahead and take that.
I guess we'd better try this way.
So, like Oblivion, we're gonna go through this this tunnel, cave tunnel that somehow is built underneath the Imperial Fortress in that city, and see if there's another way out of here. Being an Elder Scrolls game, it of course is full of, you know, dungeon monsters and not just like nothing, or maybe just some bats. Actually, I don't think there are any bats. So our first fantasy monster, other than the dragon, is these giant spiders, which are called frostbite spiders. These, I'm not sure these are actually in previous Elder Scrolls game. At least I don't remember seeing giant spiders in any of them. And this one was always a little bit late to fall. He's not quite as dedicated to being a giant spider as the others. And then Hadamar makes a little funny joke about what's next, giant snakes, ha ha ha. There aren't any giant snakes in this game, but if you play Elder Scrolls Online, giant snakes are actually one of the major animal type enemies. Anyway, ignore that for now. Come on, Hadvar, get moving. Go, go, go. So like I said before, I've done this intro more than once, so I'm a little impatient with Hadvar and his slow pokes. You can kind of speed run this whole thing, but you do have to let Hadvar keep up for bug-related reasons. If you get too far ahead of him.
See her? I'd rather not tangle with her right now. You might be able to sneak by.
Grab that coin
Just
first.
take it nice and slow and watch where you step. Or if you're feeling like
Okay, so Hadvar gave us a bow. Let's go ahead and use a bow for a second.
you can take
And
this
what we're going to do is we're going to hit sneak. The sneak crosshair in this game has been changed, so it's just a line if you're perfectly hidden, and then it opens into an eyeball if you're less hidden. It's a much better system than the Oblivion system, because it doesn't rely on kind of determining what arbitrary brightness you are. And you can see even archery has a kill cam, although it doesn't work very reliably, because I got the kill cam despite the fact that the bear didn't die. So it's kind of interesting how I basically am pointing out nothing but bugs, but it's a good game. You know, bear with me. Bear with me here. So you can loot the bear. You can get your arrows back. That's actually something you can do in Oblivion too, is you can get your arrows back, and you can get the bear claws, which are an alchemy ingredient. If I eat those, it'll tell me what one of the 4 effects that the bear claws have. And if you level up your alchemy and get all the perks, you can, you know, figure out more stuff from eating alchemy. Oops, wrong button. Wrong button. Here we go. Okay, so Hadvar's leading us out of the cave here. Slow ass. Oh, I'm still sneaking. That's why I'm going so slow. That might be the problem there. I was still sneaking. Okay, so the good news is we found our way out of the tunnel. So this is just like that moment in Oblivion where you step out into the wider world, and here's the open world where you can do whatever you want. But, oh, there's the dragon. He's still around.
Looks like he's gone for good this time. But I don't think we should stick around to see if he comes back. Closest town from here is River.
Okay, so that's it. I'm in the open world area, just like Oblivion. Once you're here, you can do basically whatever the F you want at any time. And, you know, that's like I was saying in the Oblivion video, that's one of the hallmarks of the series. It's the thing I like best about Elder Scrolls. If you don't want to do the main quest, maybe you like dragons, you don't want to defeat the dragons, that's fine. You just don't have to do it. If you want to do like the Thieves Guild, but not them, you know, you don't have to do all the quests if you don't want to. In fact, you can spend a lot of time just walking around and taking a look at the landscape. And while this game is starting to look a little bit dated, this is this special edition, I should mention, that I'm playing. So it did try to update the graphics a little bit, but not... It's frustrating because they didn't actually change any models. The way they tried to update the graphics is just by updating the video card shaders and adding a few graphical effects that weren't previously in the game. And while it's an okay result, it's still not... You can actually get much better than this by just using mods, I'll put it that way. So here's the Guardian Stones. Now, interestingly, in this game, you do not select a class. Your skills are just skills. So there's not like a class where some skills level faster than others. All the skills level based on how much you use them. And, you know, if you used one-handed combat skills a lot, that's what you get. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Warrior Stone, which basically says all of the combat-related skills will level 20% faster, which is actually quite a big boon. And
I knew you shouldn't have been on that cult the minute I laid eyes on you.
now that line doesn't make sense because Ulfric is also a warrior and he was on the cart, but he was the main one they wanted to kill and put in prison. So that line just doesn't make sense. Okay, so we can either follow Hadvar into his town where he lives,
Listen,
or
as far as I'm concerned, you've already earned
okay, he's gonna say we should go join up with the Imperial Legion.
by General Tullius. Just stay clear of other Imperial soldiers and avoid any conflict.
So I don't really understand that as well because no one knows. Like the only people who know I was on that cart were basically killed by the dragon, right? So anyway, we're gonna go up into this dungeon, which is kind of a starter dungeon. It's kind of a dungeon specifically designed for your first dungeon experience. You can kill this bandit, and you know, like every Elder Scrolls game, you kill bandits. Bandits are bad. You can kill them. Let's grab a woodcutter's axe. If I want to, I could actually chop wood right here, but I don't want to chop wood. The main use of wood is if you want to build your own arrows. If you're an archer character, you want to build your own arrows. You need wood. You need wood for the arrow shafts, of course. And you can see there's a tripwire here. Let's go ahead and sidestep it. That's a trap. If you open that tripwire, this delicate wooden paneling falls apart, and all of those heavy rocks fall on your head and kill you, or at least that's the idea. Being the starter beginning dungeon, usually don't end up dying. It just kind of, it hurts you a little bit, but it's not fatal. So, okay, there's two more guys to fight here. Yeah, it's been a while since I did. I'm basically just hitting left trigger, right trigger here, so there's a lot of strategy involved in the combat. It's a good kill cam there. Oops. I don't know what I just picked up. Probably his weapon, but we'll just do it. So in here, you can pick up pickaxe. Okay, so those are the two things we need. If I wanted to, again, I can mine ore. This game lets you mine ore. You can craft your own weapons using the ore. Other Elder Scrolls games do that too. I don't know if I've actually ever mentioned that in the course of this series, but Morrowind and definitely Oblivion let you basically create your own stuff. Okay, so let's continue through this dungeon. If we flip this lever, you'll see this bridge kind of falls down. It doesn't break, even though it really looks like it should. And then there's a couple bandits. They have much more realistic dialogue. I mentioned in Oblivion that their dialogue was kind of created by a computer by copy and paste. In this game, they actually record entire conversations. And so whenever you hear bandits talking, they usually have a pretty relatively good, like, realistic conversation going. I really like the kill cams. I don't know how other people feel about, like, Elder Scrolls game going to a third-person camera to do the kill cams, but the thing is, with a lot of like games of this type, you create a character and then you actually never see your own character because you're always looking at this. So basically, you're looking at two disembodied hands holding weapons like 99% of the game. And the kill cam kind of reminds you, I don't know, at least for me, it kind of reminds you who you are. I like it. Plus, it just looks badass. I mean, it just looks badass. See? Like that. There's about 4 or 5 of those different kill cam moves. Okay, so I got the key here. Let's go ahead and go in here, open the chest. I got a new spell. I got an enchanted. Well, I can take all this stuff. I'll need it to sell. Another new spell. This game also has the Havoc's physics engine, but for some reason that dagger, which is stabbed into the table, falls down if you take the book next to it. Never really figured that out, how that works. It doesn't seem to make sense. Now, one of the spells we just learned is actually really fun. It's the bound sword spell. So you can actually play all kinds of variations in this game, and like I said, your hands are completely independent. So I can put a regular sword in one hand and a bound sword in the other. Or I can go ahead and, oops, wrong menu. I can go to magic and I can do a bound sword in left and right. But I don't think I have enough mana to actually cast that right now. Later on in the game, you'll have enough mana to cast that. Let's go ahead and use the bound sword because I think it's kind of a fun game mechanic. Oh, come on. I know I can cast bound sword once. Give it to me. There we go. And we'll go ahead and use my magical ghost sword. I mentioned in the previous game, in Oblivion, it shows you the first thing you fight is a bunch of cultists who have bound armor. So they're actually wearing robes, but it looks like they are wearing like Daedra armor. And in this game, it's the same kind of thing. There's bound, you know, bound swords, bound bows, bound axes, and yada yada yada. Bound means basically it's magical and came out of nowhere. Okay, so I just got to level up. Let's go ahead and do our level up. This game, when you get a level up, you can choose one of your attributes. So magic, health, or stamina, you get 10 more points. I'll go ahead and just do health. And then you also get a perk point. So I have a perk point right now. I'm going to go ahead and let's just grab the first perk in one-handed weapons, which is very simple. It's just one-handed weapons do 20% more damage. So that's pretty simple and straightforward. Some of the perks are kind of cool. There's a shield one that basically like deflects arrows, and there's some cool ones in there, but oof. But we'll start with the basics. Each skill tree has basically the bottommost perk listing is just like 20% better, 40% better, 60% better, etc. Dodge arrows pretty easily. Oops. I say that and then I failed to do it. As you can see, you get the kill cans even with the bound imaginary magical sword, so that's kind of cool. And if you sheath your weapon, it goes away forever, and you just end up with the spell again. So let's go ahead and finish looting the hell out of these bandits. They have a bunch of gold here. I might as well go pick it up. It's usually, when you play this game for a while, it's like there's really no point to picking up gold one coin at a time. So normally I wouldn't do that, but you can pick up coins if you see them. You can pick them up, put them in, you know, in your inventory, and be rich, I suppose. Okay, so I also happen to know that there's a secret, quote-unquote, chest back here, and we could lockpick it. I find this lockpicking game way better than the one in Oblivion. It makes a lot more sense to me, and like I said, I'm pretty sure what they did is they had Oblivion, and the lockpicking game was kind of like confusing, and people couldn't make it work, and didn't know how it worked, and yada yada. And so what they did is they completely revised that for Fallout 3, and then they used the Fallout 3 code in this game. So it's basically the exact same as in Fallout 3, except for they show a lockpick instead of showing a hairpin. That's what you use in Fallout 3. Sorry, my brain. Okay, so that dungeon, that little bandit cave exits out here, and if you look at my objective arrow, you'll see that it's pointing at this little village. Well, that's exactly where we want to be. That's where Hadvar is gone. So let's go ahead and keep going. And our next quest objective is to talk to Hadvar's uncle. So we're going to do that right now. Whee! Okay. Sorry, shouldn't say we. That's terrible. So here we go. I've discovered Riverwood. The music in this game is a lot more soothing and less intense than in other games. I should mention.
Hello. What are you doing? Are you on leave from shores, bones? What happened to you, boy? Are you in some kind of trouble?
Keep your voice down. I'm fine, but we should go inside to talk.
What's going on? And who's this?
He's a friend. Saved my life, in fact. Come on, I'll explain everything, but we need to go inside.
Okay, come inside then. Sigrid will get you something to eat. Tell me all about it.
A dragon! I saw a dragon!
What?
What is it now?
So,
It
I don't really understand why these guys go down that stairwell and then walk along the street and then go up this stairwell instead of just walking where I'm walking. But, you know, when in Rome, let's go ahead and do like the Riverwoodians do and do the same path. It doesn't make sense. One thing, I don't know if you noticed, but if I focus on something close to me, like Alvar's back here, you can see that that one of the things they added when they did the special edition is a depth of field filter, which basically means that if your character's eyeballs are focused on something close up, the textures in the background kind of turn a little blurry. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to shortcut this. Oops, sorry, I'm knocking your plate around, buddy. So I'm going to go ahead and if you stand here long enough, there's a big, long conversation they have, but I'm just going to shortcut it. I'm going to just ask this guy if I can steal stuff from him. And he's very generous, which is nice. So let's go ahead and see what he has to take. I'll take some healing. I'll take his silver ring, which he's giving me for some reason, an ingot of iron. Okay, so we're going to tell him that a dragon attacked.
Dragon? In Helgen? That explains what I saw earlier.
So this guy actually saw the dragon, and yet he's still like...
A dragon?
He's still so surprised about it.
Skyrim. What's this world coming to?
I guess he thought he was imagining it or something like that.
Dragons. Trouble loves company, they say. The Jarl needs to know if there's a dragon on the loose. Riverwood is defenseless. We need to get word to Jarl Balgruuf in Whiterun to send whatever soldiers he can. If you'll do that for me, I'll be in your debt.
Okay, so we have a quest. We're going to talk to the Jarl of Whiterun.
Just keep going up.
So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to ignore these guys for now. You can, like I said, you can keep them talking. So this town happily has a general store, so we can go in there and sell some of the crap we picked up. And these guys also sell a few spells.
I said no. No adventures, no theatrics.
And as you can see, there's a lot of these little pre-recorded conversations in Skyrim that don't appear in previous games.
Let's hear it.
We are done talking about this. Oh, a customer. Sorry you had to hear that.
Very short, but it's just kind of a little play that goes on, I guess. So we can ask. He has a quest for us. He had a robber steal a dragon claw he owned made of gold.
An ornament, solid gold in the shape of a dragon's claw.
Why he would have that just out here in the middle of nowhere, I don't know. He doesn't have a safe or anything, but whatever.
It's yours if you bring my claw back.
He also decides to pay you a reward for it, which also doesn't seem to make sense. Okay, so let's go ahead and ask this guy if he sells spells. Now, one interesting thing about this game is the setting. In Skyrim, no one likes magic much, with very few exceptions. And so a lot of people are like, oh, don't use magic around me. I don't like magic. I hate magic, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of an interesting thing for the setting, especially if you are a magic character. I guess we'll go ahead and... I didn't think. I sold all my weapons without thinking about it too much. But I guess we'll go ahead and use the bound sword. I like that skill a lot. I'll sell him some jewelry here. I'll sell him that ingot I bought because I won't need it if I'm using bound magical spells. Oh, I forgot to buy his spell book. So he has a few spell books here. I don't know if he has anything really useful. Basically, it's the basic spell for every spell, every school of magic. Sorry, that's what I'm trying to say. So, clairvoyance just basically gives you it tells you where you're going. This is helpful if you don't want to use fast travel, or if you have fast travel turned off. This will actually basically be the replacement for fast travel for you. Frostbite's just a snow spell, yada yada. I won't go through all those.
Till next time.
Just he has one book for the starter spell of every magic school. Okay, so we've done Riverwood. Now, Alvor the Smith wants us to talk to the Jarl, so let's go ahead and talk to the Jarl. And what's her name? Who's that shopkeeper's wife is also telling us how to get to the place where the dragon claw was stolen, but I'm not going to do that right now. As you'll see, we actually end up doing that a little later on. I'm not sure if I'm going to get there in that playthrough, since I just basically start at the beginning of the game and play for an hour. We'll see how far I get and what I do, but suffice it to say that sooner or later you will be going up here to the ancient crypt on top of the hill. You cannot avoid it if you want to complete the main quest. So let's go ahead and walk around here. This is where you enjoy the landscape, the beautiful graphics, and, you know, this is starting, like I said, I think I said this before, but it's starting to look a little bit dated. It came out in 2011, late 2011, like November 2011. So it's basically 2011 graphics, but it was probably more advanced than most games when it came out as far as graphical quality goes. And by the way, you can see I leveled up a spell just by actually having this sword out. You level up your conjuration. The nice thing about the bound weapon spell is that not only do I level up conjuration by casting it and having the spell cast, but I actually level up my my one-handed sword weapon too, which is kind of interesting. I like that. And so just walking through the world of Skyrim here, you can see there's a bunch of Imperial soldiers here escorting a prisoner who is presumably a Stormcloak. Yes, he is. They tell me to go away, so I'll go ahead and go away. I don't really care about them at all. Let's keep walking. So you can see the city of Windhill, or she's Whiterun there on the hill. It's basically there's a gigantic gate around it, and then there's a big palace at the top of the hill, and a bunch of other buildings around it. Cities in this game aren't really city sized. They're kind of like little micro cities. They're actually, they even seem to be a little bit smaller than the Morrowind cities, but they're about the same size as the Oblivion ones, which is, I don't know. There's got to be a happy medium between the Daggerfall, you know, make the city like 800 square acres and have 5 million unnamed NPCs wandering around just to make it look populated and busy. And then games like Oblivion saying, okay, the entire city consists of 3 buildings and there's about 14 characters. But at least all 14 of those characters has a name and a race and a motivation. Oh, hey, what's this? Looks like a giant. Let's take a look at the giant here. These guys are fighting a giant with his club. And they just killed him.
Must have scared him off.
Must have scared him off. You killed him, buddy.
Well,
Buddy, you killed him.
that's taken
Oh,
care
hey.
of. No thanks to you.
You'll notice if from Oblivion they got rid of the face zoom in thing, which was kind of weird and disconcerting, so I'm happy about that. They do make your head turn to face the person, but they don't zoom in on their face
Another
anymore.
milk drinker crying about his effort. Glory only awaits those.
Okay, so this chick basically installs us because we didn't kill a giant, which seems a little unfair, considering, you know, but whatever. She's basically recruiting us into the Skyrim equivalent of the Fighters Guild. Instead of the Fighters Guild, in this game they're called the Companions, and they have kind of a little twist. But, I mean, the general idea is, yeah, they get paid to get in fights and solve the
Not for me to
fights.
say. You'll have to talk to Kodlak Whitemane up in Jorvaskar. The old man's got a good sense for people. If you go to him,
So she's basically telling me, hey, go talk to our leader, and he'll tell you whether you can join or not. Obviously, you can. Otherwise, it would be a dumb game. The interesting thing is, even if you are a mage, you can join. That's one thing I should mention that Morrowind did that Oblivion and Skyrim do not, is in Morrowind, you actually do have certain spell requirements. So in Morrowind, if you want to get good at, or get high ranked in the Mages Guild, you actually have to be a mage. You actually have to get your mage skills high. To do that, in Oblivion and Skyrim, they kind of took the decision that this guy needs to maintain his fence. Look at that. That's pathetic. They kind of took the position that every character should be able to do every quest line. You shouldn't have to restart the game if you have a dedicated warrior and you, for whatever reason, want to do the Mage Guild. You can do the Mage Guild anyway, or the Thieves Guild, or whatever. I like it better that way because, like I said, it's kind of a more open world concept. I understand that it maybe not as strong in the whole role-playing aspect of that, but if you're going to play an open world game, it should be open world and let the player do whatever they want. And, you know, who's to say that the fighting guild or the companions in this case wouldn't accept someone who's really good with magic, as long as, you know, they're also good at punching at the same time, I suppose. Okay, so this guy says I can't get in the city because the city's closed. That's ridiculous. It makes no sense. What this basically is, it's basically a little tutorial to tell you how to use the dialogue system and how you can persuade. It's different than Oblivion. Instead of having to go into a separate menu in Oblivion and being able to flatter and joke with the people, you basically have a special dialogue option that says, you know, parentheses persuade or parentheses intimidate behind it. And those basically are calculated based on some stat. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. Probably speechcraft. So here's another one of these little play skits. I'm not going to watch the whole thing, but basically the blacksmith in this town is being asked to create more swords for the Imperials since the Civil War is still going on. And the interesting thing is the Civil War is still going on because Ulfric escaped, and he escaped because the dragon appeared. What's really interesting is I've played this game many times, and I've played the main story of this game many times, and I've never been 100% clear on why the dragon appears at that particular moment, or how it knows who Ulfric is, or where he is. And the funny thing is there's actually the Thalmor, who are the elves I mentioned before as the bad guys of this game. They don't know either. And there's actually a mission in this game where you go and talk to the Thalmor, and they specifically say, we have no idea why the dragon appeared. And so it's like... like I said before, the writing in this game is not as strong as the writing in previous games. In Oblivion, the Assassin's Guild, I would put as probably one of the best written quest lines of any RPG I've ever played in my life. It's so good. In this game, it's at best mediocre. But the sad thing is, it's actually the best of the quest lines in this game.
My job is to deal with all dangers that threaten the Jarl or his people.
Okay, so we're going to talk to Irileth here. This is the House Carl who protects the Jarl. We were told to give the message to the Jarl.
You can say to me, I'm starting to think.
I want to hear what he has to say.
Okay, so the Jarl's invited me to talk to him. Anyway, what I was saying is that the disappointing thing is that while the Assassin's Guild in this game is probably one of the better written skill quest lines in this game, it's not very good by the standards of any of the ones in Oblivion. And even worse is like the Civil War quest line. Oh, by the way, you can just stand in the fire. Yeah, let's stand in the fire while I talk. The Civil War quest line in this game is basically like an aborted attempt to make like a strategy game, and they couldn't quite get it to work in the game engine, so they kind of neutered it. And anyway, it's confusing. It doesn't work the way you'd think, and it basically just... You go to a castle and it throws 1,000 guys for you to kill, and then you go to the next castle and it throws another 1,000 guys for you to kill. It's kind of disappointing. That said, I'm not going to complain that this game lacks content, because this game has tons of content, and even after playing it for years, I'll still occasionally find stuff that I haven't found before in the game. It's a huge game, and despite the fact that the quest lines aren't well written, there's so many like incidental quests or one-off quests and stuff like that you can stay busy and have a good experience. And again, you can also just not interact with the quest, just explore all the various caves and temples and yada yada. Okay, so I was in Helgen. I saw the dragon burned to the ground.
What do you say now?
For some reason, early on in this game, everyone has trouble believing the dragons are back, but at the same time, the guard at the door had locked the door because he said the dragons are back. But then on the third point, did he think the dragon's going to use the door? Doesn't really make sense, but whatever.
He'll assume we're preparing to join Ulfric's side and attack him. We should not.
I'll not stand idly by while the dragon burns my hold and...
So another little nugget of information there is Balgruuf here in one of the bigger cities of Skyrim is still neutral in the Civil War. He hasn't decided which side to support, but he's kind of tending towards the Imperials. But you can actually decide for him if you play the Civil War line. You basically tell him who to support.
On your own initiative. You've done Whiterun a service, and I won't forget it. Here, take this as a small token of my esteem.
Oh, that armor is actually probably good for me.
Is another thing you could do for me? Suitable for someone of your particular talents, perhaps?
It's not a little bit suggestive to me. Particular talents?
My court wizard.
Huh?
He's been looking
Nudge,
into a
nudge.
matter related to these dragons and rumors of dragons.
Okay, so, like I was mentioning before, the characters kind of look bad on purpose, and you can see that even the Jarl, basically the king of one of the large kingdoms, his clothing is just hasn't been washed in like a year. At least it looks like it, and it's all the dyes coming out. And the thing is, that probably is more realistic than you'd expect. But if you contrast it to the mage here, his clothing's actually in pretty good shape. It's just pretty poorly stitched. But I think they went a little overboard on the Jarl's clothing. They didn't need to make it look that worn out. He could probably afford a new outfit every couple weeks or whatever, you know? But whatever.
Yes, I could use someone to fetch something for me.
So, this guy is like the third voice actor you meet in the game, and he does the worst job. Yes, I can use someone to fetch something for me. I am reading words off a script. This is a multi-million-dollar video game. Anyway, whatever.
Excellent. The sooner begun, the sooner done, eh? I learned of a certain stone tablet.
I usually skip this guy's dialogue. I don't know how he ended up being the third voice actor. Actually, it could be worse. I pointed out that they did a voice acting flub in the very first mission of Oblivion, didn't correct it, so. I should also mention, like Oblivion, pretty much every line in this, in fact, I think it's safe to say, every line in this game is voice acted. Although they do have, he has a lot of dialogue options, let's just not worry about those. They do have a lot of places where they refer to you with a placeholder name because of Radiant quests. And so the Radiant quest system in this game will basically create random quests based on criteria. So, for instance, it could create a Radiant quest that's a thief has stolen an item in a cave. And the text of the quest will say, you know, Baldur the thief has stolen the goblet of whatever and is in Spelunky Cave or whatever. But then the dialogue, if you actually talk to people, will say, have you apprehended the thief and retrieved the item that he stole from that location or something? You know, they kind of keep it vague so that the Radiant quest system works. Okay, so here's I'm doing the main quest line here. I haven't done any side quests. Now, you can talk to a lot of different people in this city. There's probably, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 quests in this city if you talk to people. This building over here, which looks like, I'm trying to remember the name of this, the architecture when you have basically the roof is built the same way that they build boats. I can't remember, boat ribbed or, I don't know. There's a name for that, but I've seen buildings like that when I traveled in Europe, and it's pretty cool. But that's where the companions live, basically this game's version of the Fighters Guild. There's a purchasable house. This house right here, I can buy and live in if I had, I think, 10,000 bucks or however much money it is. I don't have that, so I'm not going to do that. Let's go ahead and go outside. It's nighttime now, so I hope you guys aren't afraid of the dark, but it's not that dark a game. It's kind of like blue filter night and not night. So, I don't want to walk all the way back to where we were, but what we can do is we can look at the map. The map's kind of interesting because it's rendered in 3D by the same, like, the game engine itself, and so, yeah, I like it. The actual clouds here on the map are actual clouds you'll see if you're actually playing the game, which I find, I don't know if it's useful or not, but previous Elder Scrolls games have had, you know, a hand-drawn map. Okay, so we can go to Riverwood, and I think we have to go out the other door. Let's go ahead and use our run key so maybe we can save a little bit of time on this. And if we go out the door by the bridge here and take a left, the door, I should say the gate, and take a left, we can go up the hill, and there's a guy with a torch running after a deer. I'm not sure what's happening exactly. This is a Gamebryo game, so you see weird things from time to time that you should just not really comment on. So anyway, if we go up the hill instead of going on the other road, we'll end up at Bleak Falls Barrow. Now the interesting thing is this is where the mage... Oh crap. This is where the mage told you to go. But this is also where it so happens that merchant in Riverwood has his golden claw. That's where the thieves who stole the golden claw are holed up. And it's kind of nice because if you know that in advance, you can just do the merchant's quest first. And let's go ahead and do stamina this time. And whoops, save yourself a trip. So basically, you don't have to go to Whiterun first. You can go to Bleak Fall Barrows and grab the Dragon Claw first before going to see the Jarl in the first place. And then they even wrote a little dialogue where you go to the mage and he's like, I want you to fetch this thing for me. And you're like, oh, you mean this thing I already have? And he's like, oh, well, you're efficient or whatever. So they did account for that when they wrote the game. And again, you do not have to do the main quest at all. You can continue playing side quests if you want for as long as you want. And something interesting about this game is the boss creatures in this game is basically the dragons. And the dragons will spawn randomly every, like, 2 in-game weeks. Or, I don't know, there's something in the game that determines when the dragons spawn. But if you don't do the main quests, the randomly spawning dragons will actually never spawn. And so if you're afraid of dragons or don't want to fight them for whatever reason, you get a lot fewer dragons. That's not to say none, because there's still dragons that live in dragon roosts on top of mountains. But you'll get a lot fewer dragons if you actually do not do the main quest in any way, shape, or form. So let's go ahead. Whoops, I'm getting attacked from this bandit up here. Let's kill him. I have this on default difficulty. You might want to turn it up a notch. I mentioned in Oblivion that this game is difficulty scaled like Oblivion is. Mostly there are some enemies in this game that are not at all scaled and will be very challenging until you get later in the game. I'm gonna go ahead and refresh my spell here. I don't know how long it lasts. I guess I can look it up, right? 120 seconds, yeah. So you do have to refresh it every couple of minutes. Otherwise it might disappear on you at a bad time. The good thing is my magicka regenerates fast enough that it's a non-issue. My magic will be 100% regenerated by the time the sword disappears. Okay, so here we go. We're on the road to Bleakfall Barrows. That little tower was filled with bandits, and the interesting thing is Bleakfall Barrows is also filled with bandits. And in fact, everything in this game has bandits everywhere. Again, like fantasy games, bandits outnumber legitimate citizens probably 3 to 1. Kind of weird, but let's kill archery dude here. I was about to brag again at how good how good I am at dodging the arrows, but then I failed to do it, so it's a good thing I didn't say anything until I did say it. Stab that guy through the gut. Suck it. Okay. So here's Bleakfall Barrows. It's basically a whole big ancient Nordic temple. There's about 15 of these on the map or so. The map in Skyrim is huge, and it's I think about 50% larger than the Oblivion map. Well, I guess you can kind of get an idea that we walked from here to here, and you get an idea for how long it took. Compared to, when I was playing Oblivion, I walked basically from here to here, and it actually took less time. I mean, I was riding a horse, but it actually took a little less time. So this gives you an idea of they've expanded the scope of the game quite a bit. Now, the downside of that is a lot of the dungeons and caves start kind of looking the same, looking samey. Because there's only so many texture sets that they made, so there's like 2 cave texture sets, one for ice caves and one for rock caves, and there's like a couple different temples. But once you've seen the tile set, or the texture set, I guess, there's not tiles, you've kind of seen the game. And you can see the kill cam. I'm having so much trouble today. I honestly think maybe I should have played the non-special edition. I think the regular game's actually a little bit less buggy for whatever reason. When they did the special edition, they probably just did the minimal amount of work needed to basically justify putting it on next generation consoles. So they were justifying, hey, how can we put this game on Xbox One and PS4 and make people buy it a second time? And the answer to that question was, well, update the graphics marginally, and then basically update the game engine to the Fallout 4 engine, which the Fallout 4 engine already works on that console, and we'll call it good. So I'll put it this way. It's a good thing they gave this version of the game for free to everyone on Steam, and it's also a very good thing they kept the old version of the game for free. I mean, if you already owned it. So they didn't replace the old version of the game with the new version of the game, because I actually think in many ways the old version of the game is superior. But it's frustrating too, because instead of Fallout 4, for a while there we were getting Elder Scrolls games like clockwork every 5 years, and we didn't get that this year. Instead we got Fallout 4, and it was kind of off the schedule, and it kind of makes me annoyed because Bethesda even specifically said, hey, we're not making Elder Scrolls 6 because we're working on Fallout 4. And it's like, well, it's been 5 years. It's 2016. It's the 5-year anniversary of this game this month, actually, as I'm recording this. And you should have a new Elder Scrolls game, but they do not. Okay, here's an interesting little puzzle here that we have to solve. It's really kind of simplistic, but there's 3 icons up there. There's a snake, a something, and a whale. Well, it turns out that something is another snake. It fell down at some point in history. And so what this bandit found out is that the combination is not right, but you pull the lever, basically magical arrows appear from nowhere and kill you. So we need to make our combination the same. It goes left to right, although I guess if you were playing this in Japan or something, you might not know that and get it wrong the first try. But so what we have to do is we have to set that to a snake. We have to set this one to a snake, and then we have to set the third one to a whale. And these puzzles, I shouldn't even say puzzles. These quote-unquote puzzles are pretty much time wasters in this game. If you have the IQ that God gave a dog, you could probably solve all the puzzles in this game. I tried to read the book and I ended up picking it up instead. You can, by the way, pick up books and they kind of just hover in front of you. It's great. Oh, my sword wore off. See, that's what I was talking about. If your sword wears off, you just go back to your spellcasting hand, and that can happen at a bad time. It's no good at all. Let's go ahead and level up here. I'll do another level in health since I'm doing combat stuff. And you can see my mini-map, or not my mini-map, my compass has these little red dots. Those are enemies. You can get rid of those with mods. There's a lot of convenience in this game. There are conveniences for the players, but they kind of ruin the RP aspect of it. And one of those things is telepathically knowing which direction your enemies are in beyond walls. So I think, if I remember right, I had a mod that replaced, I haven't used it in a while, but I had a mod that replaced the dots. Instead of showing dots, it would just kind of highlight in red if you're in combat, but it wouldn't show you exactly where the enemies were coming from. Okay, so the bandits that were here, I'm actually, just to be overcautious, I'm going to actually refresh my sword again, because there's kind of a boss fight coming up. Something resembling a boss fight, at least. You can cut your way through the webbing with your weapon, or you can use like a fire spell to melt it away. And there's a giant frostbite spider here, who, like archers, you can dodge them pretty easily. So let's go ahead and kill this spider. I might need to take a health potion. And, actually, I don't know why. I guess the default level, I must always play on higher levels because it's pretty pathetic. One thing I should also mention about Elder Scrolls games, you can change the difficulty level at any time. Oh, we don't want to fall down there. So we defeated our boss, the spider, and there's this guy here. Let's talk to him.
You did it. You killed it. Now cut me down before anything else shows up.
Who is he? Oh, this is the guy who stole the golden claw. So let's go ahead and talk to him.
I know how it works. The claw, the markings, the door in the Hall of Stories. I know how they all fit together. Help me down and I'll show you. You won't believe the power the Nords have hidden there.
Okay, let me go ahead and I'll say I'll cut you down.
Thank you.
Now, one nice thing about this quest is this guy's a thief, so if you take fast and loose with justice, you can just kill him right away. Or you can let him run away from you, and then, if I remember right, he runs into a trap. Nope, he's going to attack me. He's going to turn and attack. Oh, that kill cam didn't work out quite right, but the sword didn't really penetrate the flesh the way you'd want. So, okay, that takes care of that. I can get his golden claw now. He has a journal. I'm not going to read it. And, okay, so we can continue on. Our new quest objective is to find the secret of the barrow. Here's one of those traps I was mentioning, and that one's actually a pretty deadly trap if you're low level, because the that spring-loaded mattress pad full of spikes will hit you. And these are basically the most common Skyrim enemies, is these Draugr zombies, or a special form of zombie, I guess, that only exists in Skyrim. Oh, perfect! I killed him, and then my my power wore off. So I can dodge that trap. I don't know if I want to do the rest of this dungeon or not. It's actually pretty lengthy. Let's go ahead and let's try speedrunning it. So I'm going to go ahead and speedrun all of this. You don't need to kill enemies if you don't have to. I'm pretty sure they don't follow you. Well, they sometimes, and sometimes do not, depending on what they are, follow you through doorways. So what I'm doing is I'm just running past all these Draugr who are all coming out of their tombs as I pass. There's one there. But I'm ignoring them. Let's just keep running, or going as fast as I can. I guess I can't run when I'm out of stamina. And we'll see if I can get to the point where I learn my first dragon word. Although I'm not going to get to the point where I can actually cast it. So the shout system that they put in this game, that's the power of the voice that Ulfric had that was mentioned earlier. It's basically kind of an alternative magic system. And of course the most famous shout is Fussroda, which basically makes a big gust of wind come out of your mouth and blow people away, like literally blow them away and ragdoll them, which would be great now because I could blow this Draugr off the platform and knock her down and kill her. But you know, that's basically the use for it. Is you can knock people off platforms. You can just ragdoll them so that you get plenty of time to hit them before they can get back up, stuff like that. It's pretty fun. It's basically like if you're playing that, I'm trying to think, Saints Row has that mode that you just ragdoll everything, and that's the joke, is that you just try to ragdoll your character. It's basically that, except for in a fantasy game. But anyway, so we're gonna just go ahead and speedrun this dungeon. This obviously would take about an order of magnitude longer if I was actually fighting all the enemies in it. But who wants to do that? Although I do need to save some stamina to get through these without getting chopped. Oof, I didn't make it. You can activate the chain to turn off the slicers, by the way. I'm not going to do that because if the zombies try to follow me through, they'll get sliced up too. They're not immune to traps, and they get hit by them just as much as I do. Oops, that was a bad idea. I thought I would set those guys on fire and be able to avoid the fire myself, but obviously I was not able to. Okay, I think I'm almost to the end here. So here's what's called a Nordic puzzle door. The puzzle is that these doors are stupid, and again, like the spinning thing puzzle, the key is you basically get the whatever color of claw you need. In this case, the golden claw, and you look at the icons on it, and you match up the icons with the icons on the door. So we need bear, bug, and owl in that order. So hopefully I can do this without getting hit in the back. Oh yeah, they're still ages away. Okay, so we've got bear, bug, and owl. Now we can use the key. I'll just kill this guy since he's right there. While we wait for the door to open. Oh shoot, I did that too early. I don't have enough mana. Oh no! Oh no, mana, regenerate. I actually have a mana potion if I need it. So we'll go into this nice little cave. It has a cool bat special effect there, and you see this stone thing, kind of like a little temple, and this is what's called a word wall. And basically, if you look at the word wall, you as a character can memorize these words of power. And so you'll see that we learned the word force, and this is part of the shout called Unrelenting Force, which is basically Fussroda. And of course it spawns another boss who will go ahead and the nice thing about this boss is he takes forever to get out of his tomb there, so you can actually get like 5 or 10 hits. And he also demonstrates Fussroda for you, by the way. The shout he just did was like the Fussro part. So get a nice kill cam, and yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for our Skyrim adventure. I love it. I played Skyrim probably over, in fact I'm pretty sure it's over 1,000 hours of gameplay. I love this game so much. It's right up my alley, and you know, you should probably have played it. Like I said, it got Game of the Year from like every gaming publication in the universe. That's the stuff we were supposed to grab, by the way. And pretty much everyone loves it, and it's Skyrim. So there we go. Next time we'll be taking a look at the next game, kind of, in the Elder Scrolls series, which isn't part of the main series, but it's kind of an interesting evolution, and that's Elder Scrolls Online, and that should be up in a couple days from now.